Well, welcome. Welcome to my basement workbench. Uh, okay, so a couple days ago, I pulled the motor down here and ripped it apart on the bench to try and get an idea of what it looked like inside and what was going to need to happen to get it going. Simple breakdown. They're pretty easy to pull apart if you know much of anything about cars. Um, the first thing I noticed was when I was pulling the head off on between one and two, the head off on the one and two side, which is the passenger side, that the head bolt, this one right here, was basically finger tight. Not even a quarter turn beyond finger tight. So I had noted in a compression test when I had it running that it was really off on compression on this side, and that's the reason why. You can see there's carbon where the gasket seal should be. There's carbon and oil leaked all over the face of this head. It is definitely a problem. So I'm thinking, okay, cool. That's probably a big chunk of why my engine ran so crappy. And I'm thinking, well, hopefully we'll be on our way to a fairly easy repair on this thing. Just, new jugs, new pistons and rings. So I started taking a look at the pistons. I got the rods off, and then I started seeing this. Here we go. Let's see. Look at this uneven wear on the rod bearings. There, we can maybe see it there. That's pretty unusual. That's not good. That means this thing is riding in the block sort of off kilter a little bit, off to the side, off center essentially in the bore, and wearing unevenly. It's dragging too much on that side of the bearing, and that's on the compression, so it's pushing down unevenly. It's really not so bad on the other side of the rod. But yeah, I had two rods that are like that. This is the other one. That's not right. Maybe it was that one. Yeah, there were two of those. So that starts to make me think, well, why is it doing that? Is it the thrust bearing is worn out on it? Thrust bearing is this part of the crank bearing which sort of keeps the thing centered in the block, keeps it from going back and forth, or keeps the crank from moving sideways. There's also shims that you can do to adjust the amount of sideways movement in these engines. Anyway, then I pull the block apart and pull the crank out. The crank actually looked pretty good. I thought, well, these journals are pretty nice. Maybe I won't have to have anything done with the crank. Then I started pulling the bearings out and looking at the bearing pockets here. I don't know what the heck, there's a technical name for them. And I see this. This is a pretty significant ridge here. I mean, it's a very obvious ridge. So that bearing, which I think it's this one, was just hammering into that that spot, that part of the block, and embedding itself into the block. So what that means, I can't just throw new bearings in here and call it good. That is not going to work. What you got to do, maybe it's this one. No, it's not that. Anyway, what you got to do is do a line bore, which means they run a boring machine all the way across these and open them back up to an oversized bearing size. And that's a machining cost that I really didn't want to take on, but I guess I'm going to have to. if they can do it, and if not, maybe I'll have to find a different block. But this is a B6 block, which is kind of an unusual one. It's a 1600 cc block for 1970, when most of the 1970 bugs had 1500s. So, I mean, it doesn't make it worth anything. It's just kind of neat that it is what it is. So I was hoping to keep it, but next thing is to take it all over to a machine shop and let them know what I need done, and they'll let me know what I need done, and I guess we'll see, go from there. Anyway, thanks for checking in. It's continues to be an interesting project. Hit subscribe if you want to get updates, and I'll be updating on and off all winter. Thanks, appreciate it.